What's up, fragrant world, and welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. I gotta admit, this is my absolute favorite video of the entire year. I can't believe we're already up to it. This is the third annual top 10 fragrances I wore the most this year. Now, I'm exhausted. I just had a long travel day. I was traveling for 10 hours. Coming back from visiting my family, so I'm literally in my pajamas. I don't even know why I shared that. Future Justin.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Future Justin.
I'm here, I hear you.
All right, hey, I need you to do me a favor and please edit that out.
Yeah,
we don't need to keep that in there. Can you do that?
Oh yeah, we can totally do that.
You can?
Oh yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, because man, it'd be embarrassing.
Oh,
we don't need that in there, so please edit that out.
You got it.
Thank you, bro. You're a real one.
Sucker.
Anyway, we're gonna hop in. I'm not gonna waste too much time. So basically how this works is, for the entire year, I keep track of every fragrance that I wear. Yes, that's crazy, you might say, and nerdy and all of the above, but I do so with the help of two databases. There's more databases out there that I don't currently use, but I use Fragrantica, which is great. But my most favorite one is Parfumo.net. And I love that they let you track every fragrance that you wear. And the one thing I like is that they let you see your timeline all the way back to the beginning. So it's easy to keep track of an entire year's worth of wearing. So I'm looking at my computer here and I made a spreadsheet. I'll put it on screen. I'll have it so you can see all the work that I put into this. Basically, what I found out is that I wore 127 different fragrances this year. I think last year I wore somewhere around the 80 something fragrances. So we're wearing more fragrances, and I acquired a lot more this year, so it shows. Now, I say this is a top 10, but it's really more like a top 20 because there's quite a few ties, as usual. So each tie is based on how many times I wore that scent, and I'll go through the number of wears as we go. So we're gonna jump in. I have two honorable mentions, and the reason why these are honorable mentions is that I got them relatively recently, and they basically would have made the 11th spot, so to speak. And the fact that I wore them as much as I did, more so than fragrances I've had for a long time, and they made it up this high, they had to make honorable mentions. First one up here, no real order I guess, but actually kind of. This could be honorable mention number 2. This is from the house of Daniel Josier. This is called Vetiver. Let me get some reflection there. Beautiful vetiver based scent. Has some similarities to Terre d'Hermes to my nose. It's kind of this dirty, earthy vetiver with a citrus quality to it, but it uses orange leaf instead of actual orange, and it has kind of a more sweetness to it, and it's a little bit smoother and rounder to me. And I wore this one 7 times. I bought it back in late September, so over the course of about 3 months I wore it 7 times, which is a lot. That's a lot for as many bottles as I'm working with. Now, next up, I wore this one only 6 times, but I've literally only had it for less than a month, if I'm not mistaken. From the house of Dolce & Gabbana. This is the one, Eau de Parfum. This is no stranger, we know this one. A beautiful, fresh tobacco scent with some nice warmth and depth to it. It's sweet and a little earthy, but just very likable. Really, really good stuff. I've been getting a lot of easy use out of it, and that's what I wanted. I wanted an easy to wear tobacco scent, and it's serving its purpose already. And it's only month 1. So we'll see how it fares for next year. Let's jump right into the actual list. This is the number 10 spot, and there's 4 fragrances here. I wore each of them 8 times, which again, that's quite a bit. 8 times each. I'm not gonna talk about them too much. I'm gonna try to blitz through them. First one up is this one I talked about a little bit. This is Mont Blanc Legend Night, which is very, very underrated in my opinion, but I also understand why it is. It's nothing special, but it's really pleasant, easy to wear for the fall time. It has a nice rich scent profile, but it's also kind of light and transparent, so you can wear it all year round. So that was Mont Blanc Legend Night. Also a fragrance I wore 8 times was Aqua Intense from the House of Parfums Vintage. And this is their take on the 2016 formulation of Paco Rabanne's Invictus Aqua, and they nailed it with this one. This is spot on to me, and it's even better quality to my nose. It's smoother. And this is one I actually haven't worn it in a while. It's probably been several months, so the fact that it still made the list is saying something. Something I also wore 8 times this year was also a relatively new acquisition. I got this year, and I was really excited to get to know this brand and get to know the brand owner, Mr. George Zaharoff. And this is their release of the Signature Pour Homme. They had one, I believe, back in the 90s, and we got a new rendition of it here. And this is a beautiful aromatic fougere with a twist on it. A nice modern take on the men's barbershop style, throwing some oud in there. There's some pear in here. There's a lot of really beautiful notes, very high quality raw materials that come together to make this wonderful scent that you can wear pretty much all year round, anytime. It really is a signature scent. I hope to wear this even more next year. And the last one at the number 10 spot is going to be one of my favorites, L'Homme from Yves Saint Laurent. This one, I still reach for it. As you can see, it's on this list, but not as much as I used to, but it will always be in my rotation. No matter what, even if it gets bumped down, it's always going to be there. This is an OG for me. Okay, moving on to the number 9 spot. I wore each of these 9 times. And this one, this is a little decant. This is special because I've only had this for maybe 3 months, maybe 2 months, honestly. It was back when I did my review on Unique You, a wonderful niche fragrance subscription service based out of Germany. And this fragrance, which is actually Percival, I'm not gonna take it out of here, there's nothing to see. Well, I'll show you how much I've worn. How about that? Yeah, I've put a little dent in this little guy. This is 8 milliliters, so a bottle is in my sights. I really love this stuff. I get great compliments with it. It has good performance, it's very versatile. Nothing really special, but high quality simplicity in my opinion. This is beautiful. Also here at the number 9 spot, one of my favorites from the house. This is Creed Millésime Impérial. I haven't worn this in a little while. Well, it's been less than a month, I think. But before that, I didn't wear it too much. I wore it a lot this summer. That's where it got most of its wear. That's where it shines. Beautiful, musky, sea salty, fruity kind of fragrance. Also here at the number 9 spot, another favorite of mine, Reflection Man. Getting a little dent in this 50 ml bottle. And this is such a classy, elegant fragrance. Sandalwood, lots of white florals like neroli and jasmine. Some pink pepper in there. It's beautiful, creamy and powdery, fresh. It makes me think of the color white. It's a beautiful scent. And finally here at the number 9 spot is Dolce Di Giorno from the House of Boyce 1920. I love this fragrance. I've had this almost a year now, and I wear it sparingly, but I've gotten some decent wears out of it. Again, 9 times is not bad. It's elegant stuff, but it's also kind of versatile as long as it's not too hot outside. And actually there's one more here. I totally skipped over this, my fault. This is Royal Water from the House of Creed. One that I mainly got a lot of wear out in the summer, but I wore it recently. It's good stuff. It's one that I know I like it, but I have to wear it to remind myself. Otherwise I'll just smell it and be like, okay, yeah, I remember, it's nice. You just get that basil when you smell the atomizer, but once you spray it on, the mint, the citrus comes through, and it's gorgeous, so invigorating. Okay, we're into the number 8 spot, and I wore all of these 11 times. There's 4 of them here, and I promise after this, we're gonna be dealing with less ties. So this is John Varvatos Vintage. You already know, if you watch my channel, this is one of my all-time favorites. Man, this is a gentleman's classic. So refined, so classy. I have a review on it. check out the review there if you want to know more about this wonderful scent that you can find very inexpensively if you get it online. Up here, also at the number 8 spot, is Valentino Uomo Aqua. I've loved this fragrance ever since it came out. I smelled it in the store and I was impressed. I was like, man, this is beautiful. It's fresh and aquatic and casual, but it has an elegance with that iris note, and it has a really interesting quality with that tomato leaf note. It's very, very nice. Again, something I might wear dressed up in the daytime during the summer. Performance isn't great, but it's not the worst. And here's one that I've talked about for a while, at least a couple years on my channel, and I'm still getting some more out of it. It's not my absolute favorite in this genre. I have some others that I'm gravitating towards, but it's still a great one. Easy to wear barbershop scent from the house of Margiela. This is called At the Barber's. Beautiful fougere. It's herbaceous, it's fresh, aromatic with lavender. There's citrus, there's some spices. There's leather in here. It kind of smells like shaving cream, like sweet, creamy, fresh, just very, very refreshing. It's beautiful. Really, really nice scent. And a classic, timeless fragrance, one that you all know, and if you don't, you need to check it out. This is Green Irish Tweed from Creed. Beautiful, I think it's violet leaf. There's lemon verbena in here. There's some iris. Man, it's dewy. It's like kind of a wet green scent. I imagine leaves covered in water droplets. And it's beautiful. It's so smooth in the dry down. We'll talk about this one later in an upcoming video. Okay, moving into the number 7 spot. 10, 9, 8. Yeah, this is number 7. There's just 2 fragrances here. It's a 2-way tie. And the funny thing is both of these fragrances made a list I did about 6 months ago. The first installment of top 5 fragrances currently blowing my mind. Both of these were high up in that list, and both of them were worn the same amount of times. I wore them 12 times each, which is funny. First up, we have Creed Silver Mountain Water. A classic from the house. This is a timeless scent. It was released in the 1990s. It's still standing the test of time. Nothing smells quite like it. It's unusual, but it's interesting, it's refreshing, it's unique, and it's kind of a head turner. Just don't overspray it. It can get a little weird if you put on too much of it. But man, this is good stuff. And it's really a scent that paints a picture in your mind. It's very transportive. And the second one up in this number 7 spot is this beauty. This is L'Homme Ideal Cologne from the house of Guerlain. I haven't worn this in a little while. I feel kind of ashamed that I did not include this in my top 10 best fragrance openings list. I don't know what I was thinking. I somehow overlooked it, but this belongs in that list. Some of you guys had listed that was one of your favorite openings, and I was reminded. I was like, man, why did I not include that? This is beautiful stuff. Grapefruit. You get this pink pepper vibe. It's kind of creamy and sweet and lemony and zingy. It's gorgeous stuff. It's very elegant, something that's beautiful to wear for the summertime when you want to dress up a little bit more. Coming here at the number 6 spot, yet again a 2-way tie, and this is the final tie. I wore each of these 13 times, and I was surprised I wore them this much. I didn't realize. I knew I was reaching for them a lot, but it shocked me. First one up here is Original Santal from Creed. I've been reaching for this a lot lately. Beautiful sandalwood, juniper berry, cinnamon, tonka bean, vanilla. It's sweet and fresh. It kind of smells like laundry in a way, but with a nice, beautiful, creamy sweetness. The cinnamon adds a beautiful touch that perfectly matches the look of the bottle too. That's Original Santal. And the second one in this number 6 spot is going to be Tommy Hilfiger for Men. Released from the 1990s. Nostalgia in a bottle for me. I just recently spoke about it. I love the opening of this fragrance. It made my top 10 fragrance openings list. Check out that list if you missed it. You can hear more about this scent, and I've been speaking about it for a few videos now for a while. Alrighty, here we're into the top 5. At number 5, this is La Nuit de l'Homme. Let's not waste any time here. I've had no problem proclaiming that this is one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. It's one of the most sensual fragrances I own. I love wearing it at night when it's chilly out, when not too cold, but when it's cooler in the fall, those chilly autumn nights. Usually when I'm wearing all black, it goes perfectly. I love this stuff. It's been talked about to death, so that's all I'll say. Here at number 4, this is a special spot. I'm really surprised that this guy made the list. If you watched my list last year, which I don't think I've linked to yet, you can check it out here. I made a claim that I was going to try to wear this less for the next year, which is the year we're just ending. And I did that. I did wear it less because it did not top the list, but I cannot believe I wore this 15 times. I was restraining. Every time I'd say, oh, I'll wear Aventus. You know what? No, let me reach for something else. And it will show actually in the next pick what took its place. A lot of the time I would think about wearing Aventus, but it still snuck its way in here. I thought I wore it maybe 5 times, but 15 times this is Aventus from Creed. I still love the scent. I was just trying to wear it less, trying to be less predictable, trying to change up my flow. And yeah, just try to experience some different fragrances in my collection that often get neglected. I wore this like 30 something times last year, so I cut the wearings in half, which is cool. I'll take that. But still a great scent. I'll always love it. Here at number 3, this is a fragrance I wore basically instead of Aventus. This took about half of the wearings that I think Aventus would have taken, because I wore this 16 times from the House of Parfums vintage. This is Emperor, and currently I'm enjoying this more than Aventus. It's basically the same, but it's boosted in the musk department. The pineapple's juicier, and the sillage on this stuff is ridiculous. This stuff will linger behind you. I've gotten a lot of compliments, and as I've mentioned before, I get more compliments with this than I ever got with Aventus. I wish it wasn't so, but it is. This stuff just simply smells good, and it's a little cheaper, but the quality's still there. That's Emperor. Here at number 2, I wore this 17 times, and this topped my top 10 most versatile fragrances. I did a list on that a while back. I'll try to link that up here. And this is still one of my most versatile scents. I can wear this anytime. This is what I consider my high quality dumb reach fragrance. If I don't know what to wear, but I want to wear something that's higher quality, that's going to be interesting in the wearing experience, but still going to be easy to wear and accessible to the nose, this is going to be Elysium from Raja Parfums. Man, I've always dug this stuff. Always. Some people say it's like Aventus. In fact, a lot of people say that. This really smells nothing like Aventus to me. Honestly, it's nowhere near as green and woody. It is woody, but it has a vetiver woodiness to it, to me. But you have lots of grapefruit, which is, it's nowhere near as sweet as Aventus in terms of the pineapple. So it goes in a different direction for me, but still great stuff. A lot of notes to it, but it wears real easy. It's not complicated on the skin at all. And at the number 1 spot, with a slight margin over the number 2, I wore this 21 times, and to be honest, I saw this coming. I knew this was happening even back in the summertime. I knew I was seeing my habits. It's like, man, I keep reaching for this fragrance. I even did a video kind of doing a check-in on the fragrances I've been wearing the most for the summer. This topped that list, and I knew it was going to continue to lead the pack going into the end of the year. And without further ado, this is Leighton from Parfum de Marly. I love this stuff, man. I will always love this stuff. This is my most complimented fragrance, obviously my most worn fragrance. And you know, the battering average speaks for itself. You put in the wears, and you actually get more feedback from it, obviously. Man, this is sensual stuff. Lots of vanilla, cardamom, apple, geranium. It's fresh and aromatic. Lavender's in here, maybe cinnamon. There's a ton of notes, but similar to Elysium, it wears real easy. And when it dries down, it gets very sensual. And that's when I get a lot of people asking me. And the performance is great. It projects very nicely and it lasts on my skin at least 12 to 15 hours. No problems with latent. I love this stuff and I'm happy it topped my list. I am really happy with this being the #1 spot. This made sense to me. I'm going to continue to wear it. I got a little bit more of it for Christmas thanks to Dad, so appreciate you, Dad. He gave me some backup, so I look forward to having that once this bottle runs out. But that is my top 10 list for fragrances I wore the most 2019. Now what I want to know is, I know you may not be keeping track, but I invite you to do so. It's actually kind of fun to see what you've actually worn for the year. See if you can tell me what your most worn fragrance was for 2019. I would love to know. You know, it really keeps us honest to know, like, what are we wearing, what aren't we wearing. I have a bunch of fragrances that got really close. You know, the ones that I wore 5 or 6 times, there's a lot of those. A lot of really great ones that just didn't quite make the cut. If we made it a top like 50, then we'd be here for 45 minutes. I wasn't gonna do that. Anyway, I wish you all the best coming into the new year. I really appreciate you guys rocking with me. It's been a beautifully fun 3 years making videos so far. I look forward to continuing to stay fresh with you all. Keep telling your friends, keep sharing the videos. We'll stay fresh together and we'll definitely be even fresher going into 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next year.